Namaste, Salam Alaikum, and good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to each of you, and thank you so much for joining this important conversation on dignified menopause on the occasion of International Menopause Day, October 18. I am Radha Paudel, author, activist, and founder for the Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation. Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation is a survivor-led global network focused on shifting the conversation from hygiene to dignity and from 5 days bleeding to a life cycle approach. We were founded in 2019 in terms of the global network, and now we have over 90 members from around the world. I am speaking today from the Secretariat Office of Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation, based in Kathmandu, Nepal. For more updates, please visit our website www.dignifiedmenstruation.org and follow us on our social media channels. Let me share the housekeeping. Now you are watching this conversation through the Facebook page of Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation. Kindly leave your comments or thoughts or any questions related to the menopause in the comment section of Facebook. We will try to respond now or later. Today we have a speaker all the way from South Africa. She's Dr. Sibu Lubelwana. She's an obstetrician and a gynecologist practicing at Busa Med Hillcrest Private Hospital and is a part-time lecturer at National Mandela School of Medicine. Her interest includes hormone health, reproductive health, of course menopause, and minimally invasive endoscopic surgery for conditions like endometriosis and fibroids. She is passionate about women's health, advocacy, and founded Soft Landing for Women to support women through the hormonal and life transitions, including menopause. Dr. Sibu is married with 3 children. Let's welcome to her. Warm welcome to Dr. Sibu.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to everyone.
Thank you so much for making the time by taking break of caring of your patients. We really appreciate it. Let me start. I believe you are still in a clinic, so while entertaining with your patient, what sort of experience they have? Do they come directly with the menopausal symptom, or just they come with something else?
Yeah. So I think since I am quite vocal about menopause, they are coming quite like directly with menopausal symptoms. And while some are still maybe a bit shy about it, and then I will just get from, the conversation that, oh, this is the actual reason that she's come to see me, But I think because I'm quite vocal and I'm like an advocate for menopause, people are finding that they're getting that space that they need to express their symptoms as they are, and they don't feel dismissed because, as I say, I am an advocate for it. So yeah, that's generally, that, like today, actually, I had a patient that came from a different province, from KwaZulu-Natal, which is where I practice. So for me, that was quite an honor to have someone from a different province completely coming, because she's heard that, we give menopause the seriousness that it actually deserves.
Wow, it's a great honor to have you. It's a doctor who works as an activist as well.
Yes.
So earlier you said few patients are still hesitate or feeling shy to express about the menopause. So what is the underlying cause behind that stigma? Why they are still hesitate to come directly as a menopausal symptom or menopausal health issue? Is there
Yeah.
any evidences based on your experiences?
Yeah. So I mean, it's there's different issues that will cause that. So firstly, it will be how people are socialized, how they have grown up, knowing that when you get to a certain stage, there are certain things that you expect to happen, and when they do, it's okay. You know, it's like I'm at that stage and I need to just accept it. So I would say it's our socialization as one factor that influences people to not rise up and say, hey, this is a problem for me, because they socialize to think that no, it's normal for you to experience that, and you just have to accept it as it is. And then secondly, it is probably the um, teaching or socialization of the healthcare practitioners as well. That, when we went through medical school, there wasn't so much of a focus on what you can actually do to help patients. There was just teaching on these are the symptoms that people have, and it's because they've come to that stage. And then, yes, there is menopause hormonal treatment, maybe, but there was no focus on actually how do we help patients through this stage. So when they go to healthcare practitioners, you find that they probably are also somewhat dismissed, and it's like, yes, you've gotten to that stage. All of this is because you're menopausal and you just need to adjust and adapt to it. And then that's it. So I think because patients have been dismissed before, then it's like, okay, I'm not going to bother to say what's bothering me. I'm just going to find a way to live with it. And yeah, so I think it's just those different factors.
So you mean there is a kind of gap or dismissal from both sides, from demand
Yeah,
side and the supply side,
yeah,
right? And it is
definitely.
very much common even in the global north or developed countries like
Yeah.
USA or UK. Even they took 7 to 9, 12 years to identify it as a menopausal issue, because
Mm.
even the GPs are not really ready to think
Yeah.
that way. So this is how
Mm.
there is a high chance of dismissal from both sides. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for sharing
Yeah.
this very lived experience. So in general, how shall we think that this could be the symptom related with the menopause? What sort of thing we everyone need to think regards to menopause?
Sorry, please repeat the question.
In general, how could we understand or could be the symptom for the menopause?
Also, how can people see
Yeah,
that these are
yeah,
menopausal symptoms? Okay.
yeah.
So usually it will start with irregular periods, when you're getting closer to the time of menopause. So your period changes in terms of your cycle, it changes by over 7 days. So in other words, if, like, let's say your cycle was a 21-day cycle, and then suddenly it's like a 50-day cycle, or even like a 35-day cycle from 21, that's significant. So in other words, you're taking longer to get to your next period. And also maybe the period itself, the character of it changes. So maybe you were going for like 5 days per cycle, and now you go for like 3 days. And it can be erratic as well. One time you may have like a short number of days, and then the next cycle you have a longer cycle and it's heavy. So when there is a certain change and there's like a difference from what it was before, so those could be things that are telling that you're getting close to menopause. And then there's other symptoms that may accompany, and actually those symptoms may start even way before the time that your period actually changes, because we know that the average age of menopause will be 51 years, meaning that anything from 47 to about 54 years, ladies can go into menopause. But Perimenopause, on the other hand, may start as early as 35 years of age. So that's where you start to experience like differences in the cycles of estrogen. So where you get very high levels of estrogen and then you get like drops in estrogen levels. And then ladies may start to experience like hot flushes, sweating, especially like at night. And they may experience insomnia, difficulty in sleeping, or a change in the sleeping pattern. They may experience like joint pains, or any of the other symptoms that show that estrogen levels are starting to drop. Thinning of the hair for some ladies, and vaginal dryness as well. So all of those symptoms may indicate that there is a difference in your estrogen levels. Skin dryness, eye dryness, vaginal like dryness in most parts of your body, basically. Yeah. So those would be the most common symptoms that ladies will experience.
So these kind of symptoms are observed or experienced in natural menopause or any kind of menopause like chemical or surgical?
Yeah, so they may be experienced in any type of menopause. They are actually experienced in a sort of worse form or in a heightened form where patients have surgical menopause. So that's where they've, for whatever reason, whatever condition that they're facing, we've had to remove ovaries and fallopian tubes, and maybe along with the uterus. So those patients, because there is no sort of transition period, they experience their symptoms even worse than those who actually go into natural menopause. But the symptoms themselves, they may be the same, whether it's a chemical or physiological,
Surgical.
yeah, or surgical menopause.
Mm. So the menstruators or menopausal women experience the different kind of symptoms from head to toe, right?
Yeah.
So they may
Estrogen
have
is a
the brain fog or
yeah,
palpitation or dry skin or
yeah,
the lack
joint
of the
pains.
dry
Yeah.
vagina, so they may feel the pain while having the intercourse, maybe
Yes. Yeah.
itching. Okay.
Yeah.
uh, I'm working with a few of my colleagues on menopause awareness rising or menopause cafe, so many kind of things. And then I also have a conversation with the friend who are starting the menopause for black women. Based on your experience, from academic experience, from practical experience, is there any differences between white menopause between white women and the black women or Asian or African?
Yeah.
What kind of experience you have? What kind of things we have to consider while we talk about the menopause?
Yeah. So definitely there is a difference in how patients will express themselves, between different races. You find that with the Caucasian, the white patients, they are more at ease in terms of expressing what symptoms are bothering them. You find they're more outspoken, and they'll be quite clear on what the symptoms that they're experiencing are, even if they're not sure, is it menopause, is it perimenopause, but they will be quite clear in terms of expressing, this is what's bothering me. But when it comes to African Black patients, you find that there is that hesitancy to even speak about it. Even when I was working in a public hospital, I always used to wonder, why are we not getting patients that are complaining of symptoms of menopause, And I think it goes back to the socialization, that, people are not supposed to be bothered by any of the symptoms. You're just supposed to accept whatever is happening with them. Though I recently also read something that maybe sort of explained why maybe women from rural parts of the world, because they're still eating more organic food. So their experience of menopause may actually be a little bit different to patients who are eating foods with like preservatives and, where the lifestyle is completely different. Lifestyle does have a role to play also in how you experience menopause. So there is a group that is probably not experiencing symptoms as bad as, the sort of urban type of patients who are exposed to a different type of lifestyle. But even in the urban areas, the ones who are experiencing menopause are also not coming out clearly. You have to like really ask them. So are you not bothered by any night sweats? Are you not bothered by any palpitations? And then they say, oh yeah, it does bother me, but I mean, I just thought it's something that's natural. It's something that's supposed to happen. And then you're like, no, but we can actually do something about it. And then they're like, oh, okay, really? The other thing that maybe has caused some sort of hesitancy is the connection between menopause hormone treatment and breast cancer. So a lot of patients also find that they are scared of even exposing themselves or taking menopause hormone treatment because they worry that it may cause breast cancer. And whereas, recent studies have shown that yes, there is a risk in terms of increase, but just like any medication will have some, adverse effect or some risk factor. So yes, menopause hormone treatment may increase the risk of breast cancer, but it is not as high as it was purported with that initial study. It's the same risk that drinking alcohol, high BMI, smoking will cause in terms of causing breast cancer.
Okay, so October is also the prevention for the breast cancer. So it is very important to link the menopause and the breast cancer. So how often you have that kind of patient that they are suffering with the both kind of issues?
Yeah. So it can actually be so difficult to manage a patient who, is on treatment or has finished her treatment for breast cancer, but is also facing, menopause symptoms. And, there are real symptoms and they need to be addressed as well because we've healed her or we've cured her of the breast cancer, but now she's living with these symptoms. So how do we manage? And yes, it can be a tightrope that you're walking on because you also don't want to re-expose her, but there are options in terms of treatment that you can give that type of patient because it also depends on the type of breast cancer that she had. But yeah, there are treatments that we can give to the patient to relieve or to alleviate the symptoms of menopause.
Yeah, women are really suffering from different aspect. We cannot see in a very linear approach.
Yeah.
Historically, they don't have a voice. Is like a region, is a global south. They have the kind of, they are very much oppressed from the colonized practice, and psychologically they also suffered a lot because they taken as like a, oh, this is the part of their life, they have to tolerate whatever they have. And some extent is a matter of the economic, because they cannot make decision right away and then seek the medical services. Sometimes in rural parts of the many areas of the rural parts of the world, they may not have the access with the transportation, and their partners may not supported them. So while we talk about the menopause, it's not only about the biological phenomena. It has a really the connection with the psychology, or mental health, economy, politics, and everywhere. So as a lecturer in a university, uh, do you have a specific attention or curriculum in a university curriculum for the doctors or nurses or public health?
Mhm. Yeah, so like I said, for our time, there wasn't that much of a focus,
Mm-hmm.
even when we were specializing. Yes, we
Mm-hmm.
did menopause treatment, but I think the focus was a little bit different. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
now things are definitely changing because, like in our department, for example, the head of department
Mm-hmm.
is a lady; she's female, so she is making inroads in terms of, you know, putting that spotlight and that focus on menopause in the curriculum and in terms of treatment, and making sure that the students that we are teaching, they have that focus on
Mm-hmm.
menopause treatment, and their attitude also changes because, you know, if we as the teachers, our attitude is focused on, is pro, you know, management on of menopause, then even the students that we produce will be those type of doctors, you know. So yeah, there is
Mm-hmm.
definitely a change, there is a shift
Mm-hmm.
to focusing on more menopause
Mm-hmm.
issues. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's a really good to know. In UK, actually, I review the one book which is published from UK. It is called Surgical Menopause. Later, I
Yeah.
translated into Nepali, and then I learned that the even National Health Service, the UK Health Service, also earlier there was no menopause in the curriculum of the doctors, nurses, and public health. So
Mm.
recently, they did so many campaigns. Even the parliamentarian invited the menopausal activist in a parliament to have a discussion, and then
Yeah.
they started the two things. One, they started the menopause education on menopause from the school, and the other one, those doctors and nurses who don't have the training during their university, they are getting the in-service education on menopause. So this is how even
Yeah.
the UK government is trying to minimize the gap on menopause. So menopause is silence
Yeah.
everywhere, not only the countries like us, even in the developed country they don't talk about it. So
Mm.
in this given scenario, as you explain, what kind of partners or husbands or men advocate you are experiencing or entertaining in your life while we talk about the menopause?
Yeah. So one of the things that personally I'm involved with is, there's two ladies that I work with that we try to educate CEOs and the leadership of companies on menopause issues. Because one of the things that I found as the more I was speaking about menopause issues to ladies, yes, the ladies are getting to understand their bodies better, and they're getting to change lifestyle here and there to be pro, you know, what is supposed to work for them in their bodies. But what I found was that there is a gap because majority of the time ladies are at work. So you find that a person is changing, but their situation is not changing because she's still in the same workplace that doesn't quite understand what she's going through. And
Mm,
so um, we have been knocking on so many doors. There have been promises of those doors opening, but none has opened as yet. But I think even us knocking on the doors is getting the conversation started in those
mm,
workplaces, because I mean, women are spending a lot of their times in the workplace. So
mm,
that is where they will experience change the best first.
mm,
Um,
mm,
even educating their spouses. When I speak to women, I always say that it starts with you understanding what's happening in your body first. Then you're able to teach your husband, to teach your
mm,
children
mm,
that, look, this is what I'm going through, this is what is happening, so let's understand each other. And you
mm,
find that a lot of the times when women are going through menopause, they have teenage kids. So it's like quite a hormonal house, you know, household.
mm,
So it's
mm,
like, as much as the teenagers are also going through their hormonal changes and challenges and issues, you are also going through yours. So it's about ensuring that everybody understands what everybody is going through, and then we meet each other halfway. We understand what's going on with each other. So, as I say, we are still knocking on doors. We're hoping that one day they will be open. But yes, I believe that even knocking on the door and saying this is something that needs attention, it does drop a seed in those companies as well, to say, okay, let's see what we can do internally to make a difference, and we will get there. We will get there.
Okay, all the best for that. What sort of workplace policy you suggest for making menopause dignified at workplace?
Yeah. So the policy will always start with understanding women while they are menstruating. So, like you say, dignified menstruation. So, if we have dignified policies for menstruating women, then that will obviously automatically translate to policies that also accommodate women when they get to the stage where they are no longer menstruating. And it will start with helping managers, CEOs, heads of departments to understand the physiology throughout, from the time women are menstruating, the challenges that they face, and then to the time that women stop to go on their period, or even before, actually, because a lot of the problems are with the transition time. So the perimenopause stage. So once we educate heads of departments and CEOs on what are the symptoms that women will experience, what are the challenges that women will experience when they're in that perimenopausal stage, and how can it affect the work environment. And once we have that, then that enlightenment will translate to policies being more accommodative on I hate to use the word accommodative even, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got it.
But it will be more understanding to what could this lady be going
Mm,
through, what challenge could she be going through, and
mm,
how can we make it easier for her, because we
mm,
need her to be productive at work,
mm, mm,
and she is productive, but it doesn't necessarily mean that
mm,
she's not having a
mm,
challenge. So, but
mm,
in order for the woman to be even more productive, we need to
mm,
ensure that she is in a
mm,
comfortable space. She is
mm,
in a space where she feels she is
mm,
heard, where she feels, she can express herself
mm,
in terms of, I'm struggling with this. What can I
mm,
do? Or how can we meet each
mm,
other halfway, so that, if I need to take a break at this point,
mm,
and sort out my health issues,
mm,
um, so that I'm more productive, because
mm. Yeah,
women, we are productive, that is for sure.
yeah,
And
yeah.
particularly when we get to the menopause stage, there is
Mm,
an edge that we have that we didn't have before,
mm,
at that stage. So it's just about ensuring that
mm,
whatever the challenges we may be facing are addressed,
mm,
and are addressed
mm,
appropriately.
mm. Yeah, absolutely agree. Actually, having the policy on dignified menstruation that includes the menopause as well, that give the kind of assurance and provide the space. But that should be the budget, flexible working hour, resting places, and then also the counseling, emotional health, and sometimes even more than that, because few women or menstruators experience the severe type of menopausal symptoms.
Yeah.
They need a
Yeah.
severe treatment, and which may expensive. So in that context, the office or even state has to take care of that kind of issues. And
Yeah.
yeah, one day we will make it happen. We keep
Definitely.
talking about the gender equality everywhere,
Yeah.
gender equality
Yeah.
and social inclusion, JC policy in every organization,
Yeah.
and unless and until we don't address the dignified menstruation, including menopause, we cannot achieve the gender equality. So keep talking,
Yeah.
keep advocating
Yeah.
wherever we are. Thank you so much. It's really
Yeah.
inspiring. And earlier you said we need to educate to the children about the menopause. So the most of the cultures, they don't like to talk about the menstruation in general, right? And
Yes.
then
Yeah.
menopause, they should not know right now. Still they have to wait to experience, like 50 years later they may experience. So why should we teach that kind of comment I keep receiving. So do you have any suggestions or any kind of examples to engage the children regards to the dignified menopause at home?
Yeah. So I think it will also, once again, start with us having a conversation on menstruation first. It starts there because we can't talk about a period that stops when the child doesn't even know what's a period. When do I expect and what do I expect around those type of issues. So it starts with us just normalizing the physiology of women, basically. Because I always say when I do talks, even to teenagers, that what you cannot control, you cannot be ashamed of, because you
Yeah,
can't control when you're starting a period.
yeah,
So why must you be ashamed of that? Just like you can't control your breathing, it happens automatically. Are you
yeah,
ashamed? No, you're not.
yeah.
So
I
when it
like
comes
it.
to menstruation now, why is there a sudden shame? Because it's the
Yeah,
same thing, it's a physiological process. Just
yeah,
like you can't control your heartbeat, your breathing,
mm,
and there is no negativity that's associated with that. So the same with menstruation. You can't start it, it starts by itself. You can't control anything about it. Of course, we can manipulate it with medication, but you know
mm,
what I mean? I'm talking about the natural path that
mm,
it happens by itself. It's
mm,
something that is just natural physiology within us. So there should be no shame associated with it. So right through the spectrum of anything else that happens in between, there should be no shame. Even medical conditions that are
mm,
associated with
mm,
periods, there should be no shame associated with them. So even when it comes to now the end of the period, even when I've got an online platform on Instagram that I normally share, different types of women's issues. So the
mm,
first time I actually spoke about my experience of menopause, I was so scared that,
mm,
people are going to judge me and think, oh my goodness, she's so old, and think all negative things, which
mm,
means that if I was carrying all of that
mm,
shame, if I can
mm.
put it that way, and which should not be, because it's a natural stage of life,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
even that
mm,
association with being old and being expired, and no, that should all be taken away. As I say, there are so many things that I have started, so many things that women in general will start once they get to the age of menopause, because you live more of a purpose driven life once you get to that stage. So it's not like you've expired, it's not like it's the end of you, but it's just the beginning of another chapter in your life. And that's how it should be viewed as well. So, the same way we open up conversation about the period, that's how we should also open up conversation about menopause to our children, to teenagers. So
yeah,
it's a natural phase of life that we should view just like that. It's a natural phase.
yeah. Mm, we, Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation, often said that the dignified menopause is a human right, not a privilege. So it's everyone business, no
Yes.
matter whether there is a partner or husband or children or
True.
NGO worker or CEO or state. Everyone, they had to take the responsibility because it is a human right. And uh, as you said, the children, while we discuss about the menstruation as a part of the our human biology, and they also automatically know about the menopause. So like that way, if we also incorporate the menopause into the school curriculum, like grade 7,
Yeah.
8, 9, 10, and that time these children, these students can work as the primary doctor to
Yeah.
identify the menopausal symptom on their teachers, and then they can help to ease the symptoms, or even they can ask to consult the doctor. So one
Yeah.
of my friends said that they get the benefit from our webinar about the menopausal symptom, and
Yes.
then he spoke with his mother, and then eventually it was really a very
Yeah.
enabling environment for her
Yes.
mother and his mother
Yeah.
and
Mm.
mother's colleagues. So
Mention
this is
that.
how
Yeah.
we need to have the dialogue.
Yes, absolutely. So one time I shared about the changes that some of the companies had made in our part of the world, in South Africa, about having menstruation leave, period leave for
Mhm.
patients who suffer with endometriosis, etc.
Mhm.
So someone commented and said,
Mhm.
"Oh, next thing you guys are going to be saying people must have menopause leave." And I said, "Actually, you are right. It depends on what the patient is experiencing. Some people do actually deserve menopause leave. You know what I mean? Because it just depends on what you are experiencing at that
Yeah.
time. While it's a normal physiological process, some
Mm.
of the symptoms are not normal, are not to be accepted as just that's it. We're not going to do anything about it.
Mm.
Some of the symptoms may actually put a patient at risk of some condition or another, you know.
Mm.
So yes, if her condition requires that she gets leave, she must get leave.
Yeah, we always have to assess the condition whether this menstruation or menopause is dignified or not. We need to use the lens of the human right to assess the condition regardless of the culture, religion, or region. And we need to reach the glass ceiling, and we will
Mm.
mm, make it happen one day. So
Yeah.
since you are the expert on reproductive health, hormonal health, and then the global community is working a lot around sexual health and reproductive rights. So where do you see the menopause in a SRHR spectrum?
Where do I see menopause?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there are so many projects going on, so many conversation going on around um, SRHR or comprehensive sexual education, CSE. And as an expert, where do you see the menopause in a spectrum of the SRHR?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's important when we start off by saying, not all menstruators are female type of a thing. So it obviously tells you that not all postmenopausal peoples are also female. You know what I mean? So we need
Yeah.
to have a language that is inclusive to everyone, that is considerate to everyone, right from the time we're talking about menstruators to the time we're talking about post-menstruators, post-menopausal people. So it needs to be all inclusive and be a human right, as you say, and dignify the humanity in the person. The experience of it must just dignify humanity, whatever spectrum the person may view themselves from. What we need to focus on is making sure that the experience of that person is a human experience, a dignified experience, as you also stand for that. That's what our focus should be. Are we there yet right now? I don't think so, obviously, but we are definitely making way towards that. I think there is a focus on ensuring that, everybody's sexual and reproductive health rights are heard accordingly, are seen as they should be. So I think we are making inroads in that and making changes with that. And yeah, in the near future, hopefully it will be an all comprehensive picture that includes everyone. But yeah. we are making inroads.
Yeah, I also believe that since 1994, the global community has been talking a lot about the reproductive health, reproductive justice, SRHR or CSE, and menstrual discrimination. Discrimination related with the menstruation and menopause is just missing,
Yes.
and in a way that I also coming from the nursing background. So while we
Okay.
talk about the family planning or safe motherhood or safe abortion or HIV, menstruation is everywhere. But
Yes.
we don't like to talk about the menstruation, primarily focusing on the socio-economic and political nuances. And often even the activist academia don't like to talk about the menstruation. Oh, it's a part of the culture, it's a part of the tradition, we should not talk. Oh, if we talk, this type of people, this group of the people, they
Mm.
disagree or angry with us, so let's not speak. So this is how, in a course of the gender equality, in a course of the human right, in a course of SRHR or reproductive justice, the menstrual discrimination or dignified menstruation is just missing. It's a kind of deliberately missing.
Mm.
So, as a medical doctor, menstruation exists for last more than 3 million years, and the literatures claim that it started from the time of Homo sapiens and it started from Africa. And
Mm.
then till now in 2025, we are trying to create the space for the dignified menstruation. Sometimes it's a little bit frustrating, but mm,
We have to keep going.
yes, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Mm.
moving forward, I also like to know the whether you experience the autism and menopause, disability with and menopause, or trans men and menopause while working in the clinics or going through the university.
Yeah, I must say that's one area I haven't really had much exposure on. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I yeah, I haven't had, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's there's lack of it, but I just think I just have not been exposed to
Mm-hmm.
it a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because in many cases, while we talk about the menopause, the parents, due to the menstrual discrimination, societal pressure, or the economic condition, they did a surgery like a hysterectomy, and then they ended the menstruation. So it's a kind of, according to our menopause theory, it is a surgical menopause, and that kind of uh, side effect or that kind of negative impacts are not discussing while talking about the
Mm,
menopause.
mm,
So
mm,
this is
mm.
how I like to know whether you have the experience or not. Likewise,
Yeah.
autism and the trans men. Uh,
Yeah.
the trans men, they born with the uterus and ovaries, and they also experience the menopause. It's like menstruation. Of course, they also
Yes.
experience menopause, and few trans men, we learned that they also use the medicine, they also did the hysterectomy, gender affirming medical intervention. So
Mm,
whatever the case, they also experience the
mm. The
menopause.
physical.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
chemical menopause, surgical menopause, or natural menopause. So,
Yeah.
and the trans men are the most margin in the marginalized group, and their their menopausal health is really compromised a lot. So
Yeah.
this is how I wanted to
So
know. Yeah,
yeah.
please.
So if I can add to that, I think what would be important is the same way that we would manage a person who, for some pathology needed to have a hysterectomy and remove the ovaries and fallopian
Mm,
tubes. That patient needs to be maintained on
mhm,
hormonal therapy.
mhm,
So even if it's a trans men,
mhm,
it means, and they go for the surgical procedure, then the same needs to be followed through. So I think the problem has been because of the teaching that people or the lack of teaching that people have had. Even for women, sometimes it has happened that they don't put them on hormone therapy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even patients who have like primary ovarian insufficiency will not be put on treatment to make sure that, because their bodies still need the estrogen. So they need to be still on treatment. So you can imagine it's even worse for patients who are transitioning now, if
Yeah.
they if people are not taking care of the ones that are not even transitioning. So it's worse for the ones that are transitioning. They won't even be regarded for to be considered for hormone treatment at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah, but it's an
Since
important consideration to make for those type of
yeah.
patients. Yeah.
Since you are expert on the hormonal health, is it easily acceptable taking hormone during the uh, menopausal, postmenopausal symptoms while having the menopausal symptoms? What sort of practice you have in South Africa? Do you have the policy on using the hormones for the menopausal therapy,
Yeah.
or stigma from the side of the demand sides? Would you say a little bit about the hormone replacement therapy for menopause?
Yeah. So I mean, there are policies. We've got
Mm,
a body,
mm,
South African Menopause Society. So that gives us guidelines on how to manage patients
mm,
when they get into the menopause stage,
mm,
whichever way, whether it's natural menopause, surgical, medical, or
mm,
whatever way. And they are quite inclusive in terms of their what
mm,
the guidelines say. And yeah, so we do have those guidelines, and there is even now more of a spotlight on the South African Menopause Society. So they
mm,
are also pulling their weight and doing what they're supposed to do.
mm,
But obviously, we need more impact.
mm,
But yeah, there is that move on their
mm.
side as well.
Is a champion for the menopause health or reproductive health. What are the key suggestions you like to share with the global community regarding
The
the dignified menopause? So, as an expert from South Africa, um, what would be the three suggestions or advice you like to share with the global community
All
for
right.
making menopause dignified?
Okay. So I think I would say firstly, everything will start at home.
Mm,
Every change starts at home before you even go to
mm,
anywhere. So it would be to
mm,
see change in homes. So change and any home, really the
mm,
champions are mothers. So
mm,
our focus should be on mothers, females from a young age, to
mm,
help them understand and to help demystify all of this, because all of the anything to do with women has some mystery that is put into it that puts a stigma. Pregnancy will have a stigma attached to it. There's always stigma that follows women. So if we can just make sure that we demystify all of these myths
mm,
around womanhood and starting from a young age. That way, families grow in a healthy mindset, healthy environment, and not only focusing on a girl children, but also on boy children. Like I have two girls and a boy,
mm,
and we talk openly, not just with my girls, but also with my boy. And he knows that women menstruate, women have a time where they are bleeding, and he understands, and that's building a society to come, building a certain
mm,
mindset that will, make shifts.
mm,
My husband grew up from a society where if I'm going through my period and I need pads, he can't buy pads for me because he's a
mm,
man. That's how
mm,
he grew up, and I'm not like talking badly about him, but I'm just saying that is the society he grew up in. But because I want a change for the next generation, My son is the sort of man that will buy pets for his
Yeah.
wife, that will buy, you know what I mean? So it starts with family units. We start small to make a
Yeah.
difference, and
Yeah.
then we can make big changes. The second thing I would like to see is, like I said, we are knocking on doors for all these big companies. They need to understand the physiology of women. And once they understand the physiology, the thing they don't know is how much productivity they will get out of women once
Mm,
they understand and are more accommodative of women and the changes that women go through.
mm,
It will actually work to their advantage when they know how to walk with women as women are. And then the third, maybe this is the first thing actually that I would like to see change in: women understanding
mm,
themselves, women accepting themselves and accepting who they are,
mm,
accepting. Um, I don't know how many women I've heard say, I hate the period.
mm,
Whereas periods are actually what works for us. It is what
mm,
makes us unique as human beings.
mm,
And anything that makes you unique is something that is a gift for you to
mm,
make it work for you.
mm.
And I think the first thing, maybe, so it's in reverse now. The last thing I've mentioned
Yeah.
is actually number one,
Yeah.
and it's women accepting themselves for who they really are, accepting their physiology
Mm,
for what it actually is, and knowing and understanding that who you are is
mm,
who you are, and you should just accept it as it is and make it work for you, and learn to walk with your own body, learn
mm,
to flow with your own cycle, and
mm,
make it work the best for
mm,
you. And I think we'll have
mm.
healthy communities when people accept themselves for who they really really
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, very inspiring. So first, menstruators has to accept the reality. The second,
Yes,
the family needs to be practice for the dignified menstruation,
yes.
and then the workplace, right?
Yes, yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
And that includes, everyone, government also
Everyone.
playing a
Yeah,
role.
yeah,
It
yeah,
includes varsities
yeah,
ensuring that they're teaching the right things, it includes everyone at a broader level.
yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Shiv. It's really a very insightful discussion. Dear friends who are watching us through the Facebook Live, please uh, uh, remember that Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation is kicking off 3 days international learning conference on dignified menstruation on the auspicious occasion of 7th International Dignified Menstruation Day, December 8, 9, 10 in Kathmandu. For more information, please keep following us through the social media channels. And we also reshuffle our steering committee members third time. That means the third tenure. If any of you like to join it or serve as a steering committee member, please find the application. It is available in website and social media, and apply for it. And once again, thank you so much, Dr. Sibu, for your time and valuable input. Do you like to share the last minute message on dignified menopause to the global community before we say goodbye?
Sure, sure. Thank you so much for having me. And I've really enjoyed this conversation today. So, my last words or my parting shots would be: this year, the theme for the World Menopause Day is lifestyle medicine. And my interpretation of that has been that let us make our lifestyle to be our medicine.
Mm,
So, meaning that we start to change things even before we get into the menopause stage. So, even when we are perimenopausal, let us make sure that our lifestyle is our medicine. So, let us take care of our bodies from a young age. Make sure that we are exercising, because that will ensure that our muscle and our bone health is strong by the time we get into menopause. Let us make sure that our diet is good and it carries us through to menopause so that we reduce the risk of us having cardiovascular disease, heart disease, having dementia and cognitive issues. Let us make sure that our lifestyle, we play games that are always ensuring that our minds are always engaged and always like solving puzzles. And that way, that will reduce the risk of dementia. So walking, let's make movement our medicine. So that's my interpretation of that theme of lifestyle medicine. Let's make our lifestyle to be our medicine. Let it heal us. Make sure that you take time to connect with God and take those times of, connecting with yourself, because that feeds not only your body, but also your soul. And that's lifestyle medicine. Make sure you're part of a community that will always lift you up and always make sure that you are taken care of in that community. So yeah, let's make our lifestyle to be our medicine.
Thank you so much. We will make it. We will make it. I promise. I
Thank
also
you.
make it. Thank you so much. It's a great honor to have you. And thank you, everyone who are watching us. Thank you.